Hello, everybody. How are you all doing?
What up?
Um, yeah, no, my mic's working. God, I'm rusty.
It happens. It's okay.
Here, I'll bring that down in the background. Yeah, so it's been a little while. Johnny and I have been busy.
Golly. I knew it was going to happen too. I knew as soon as March ended, April, May, I was like, fuck, this is going to be. I
Well,
even
my May
contem-
was. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, I even contemplated just not coming back to YouTube at all, being done with it forever. Simply because, like, when I came back, I was like, fuck, I know it's going to be stuff to talk about, but I'm not going to have time to fucking do it.
No, I got you. And obviously, if you ever make that decision, you just gotta let me know, and I'm sure it's fine. I've had the same thoughts. I mean, it's like I don't know. Sometimes it's hard. Right now, I'm in the thick of the thing. Is like the children are in there. Like I got what 8 and 11, so
Yeah.
like right in the middle of the thickest of it. So, but I don't know. I think these things ebb and flow. Right now,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
at a
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
a low point in my energy and time. I guess is the big thing. I
Yeah.
have been very busy. May was stupid busy for me because it was. I mean, I have to use it in Yankee degrees. But what is it like 100? It was a
Those are called freedom units, sir.
freedom units. Fahrenheit, no one can spell it.
Yeah.
But it's like, well,
Right.
I mean, you probably some freaks can. I think that word's always been like,
Uh,
ugh.
like F.
But
That's how
it
it's
was like
spelled.
a yeah,
Capital
F exactly. It was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit here, and that was like first week of May. So I literally went from like on a Thursday telling people like I can't really book you for an AC maintenance right now because it's so cold out. Like we can't run the air conditioners. It's not safe for the air conditioners. It could damage them. I mean, that's kind of a cop out. It's probably not going to damage them, but it's really hard to get a proper idea of how it's running when there's no load on it. So I'm
Right.
not still not lying, but it was like the next Monday. It was just 100 and something degrees. So it went from we can't possibly run them to like
We have to.
everybody figuring out that their shit's broken at the same time. So of course
Yeah.
I got the kind of busy I normally get in July. I got in like first week of May, and it was like 2 weeks there. I was working like 12-hour days. Not that that's like people out there like pussy fuck. There's some people work some long ass hours, and I come in
Look,
and I'm
here's
like,
the thing. Okay,
I
hang on,
worked 10 hours yesterday. It was a lot of work.
hang on a second. I'm gonna let's pump the brakes on this really quick, because yeah, no, the F is not for freedom, even though it should be. Should be for freedom.
Some freaks can spell Fahrenheit. Oh
That
wait, look at
too.
that.
No, yeah, very good.
Nerd
Nerd pandemic.
pedantic alert.
Yeah,
Nice. I like the name. It works.
yeah, very good. So in the industry that I work in, everybody pulls the same hours of work, give or take, with the exception of a few. My 12 hours is a lot harder than like a producer's 12 hours.
That's
They
fair.
can say, I work 12 hours. Like, hey, did you though? You move some papers around, you talk to a couple people on the telephone.
They went to the
That's all cute.
poutineery at lunch. God damn it!
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. You're over there eating steak and lobster. And my 12 hours is fucking, hauling, lugging around fucking 100-pound lights and, 80-pound stands and all that shit. I'm not complaining. It's
No, I know exactly what you're talking about because some days I do, 12,000 steps up and down some stairs.
Oh,
And of
man.
course, it doesn't tell you how
Yeah.
many of those were stairs.
Right.
It's like, well, literally a fraction of every journey was stairs.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's the thing.
2,000 steps on the stairs, like, during the day.
When I'm on set, it's nothing for me to get 20,000 steps a day when I'm on set. It's just how much we move. We have to, lug. And it's
How
not
noisy
just
is
like,
this, by the way?
I don't
The
know.
volume good on your end?
It's good on my end. Yeah.
All right. People tell us if I'm blasting you. I'm a little bit noisy.
It's okay.
We
But
we got rowdy.
yes, the life of a gaffer, 100%. But yeah, I mean, 20,000 steps isn't just like walking like around a fucking track or some shit. It's 20,000 steps carrying gear, equipment, setting all that shit up. So 12 hours is 12. That's hard work. Okay, some people do. And here's the thing: if somebody comes and says, "I put in 8 hours as a fucking coal miner," I'm like, "You win. Okay, you work harder than I do."
I get I work hard while I'm working, but I mean as a service technician, there's like
Yeah.
depending on how long I'm at either call. Some days there's a lot of interspersed driving periods, but that's almost worse I find because I don't get to actually take like it's kind of like a break disguised
Right.
because it's like people be like, "Oh, well that was nice for you just to be able to drive around." And like it's like, "Yeah. I had the air conditioning cranked. I was listening to music. Like
Yeah.
I was in a happy place." However, I don't think anybody does any city driving or anything at all will tell you that there's nothing like relaxing about driving a vehicle around
Not
in
in
a
the city.
city.
Not in the city. No, like
No,
cross
in the
country, on the
country.
country or some
But that's
shit.
the
Yeah.
other problem. Okay, I stay up too late, and if you
Yes.
give me long stretches without flashing lights and pretty colors and stuff like that, I just,
Yep.
just like, like
Yep.
steer that bitch right into the rhubarb.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
but yeah.
So Terry says he was the second AC. Then he upgraded to DIT after 7 years. Yeah, second AC. It depends on your productions that you second AC on, but you can. I mean, you'll catch some steps in that too. And if you're not doing a whole lot of camera support as a second AC, then that's perfect. You know, it's not a cush job, but it's a little less physically demanding than your grips and gaffers. I mean, that's always going to be your most like your carpenters, your electricians, your grips, your gap. Those guys are going to just put in. They're just going to put in the majority of the physical labor. That's what we do. Again, not complaining. It is what it is. It's fun. You know, I get to make things look pretty on screen. That's what I do for a living. So I'm not complaining about it at all. But it is a hard 12 hours.
You guys aren't going to be allowed to make things look pretty on screen in Canada anymore, though. You're going to get tariffed.
If you go anywhere, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, hey,
So like,
here's
because
the
what if your
issue.
movie's set in fucking France or something? You're like,
Right.
we have to. It's gonna be cardboard cutouts of like, like French shit and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
it's going to be a lot of backlot building and whatnot, which I think is
Oh
so
my
stupid.
God.
It's the dumbest.
I mean,
fucking
obviously,
thing.
I'm taking it to an extreme. It's just I could make a comedy skit out of this where it's all just like really shitty props in the background. Everybody's having to film
Yeah.
everything in America, which by the way, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them setting. The thing is, like, they give like how anybody does it is subsidies, right? I mean, like
Well,
that's how
right,
you
that's what I was
typically
gonna say. The
you
issue
you
is-
typically just make it appealing. You don't punish the companies by saying
what I
if you
was
film
gonna
in
say,
these other locations, you'll eat this dick.
Hang on
You
a second.
say,
yeah,
like,
right. I mean, if you the biggest thing, I was just listening to this fucking idiot talk about something he obviously knows nothing about. How this man has spent that much time, you know, in the industry, so to speak, and not have a fucking clue about what's going on is beyond me. But he's all, well, all these companies are going overseas to make movies. Yeah, why is that? Is it because for a period of time, Germany was giving out money like it was giving out fucking war crimes? Or was it like, you know, there was a time where you can film in Scotland and they would give you $5 million to film there. They're like, hey, here's $5 million for you to bring your production here. Canada does a lot of similar shit. They're like, hey, you know, normally we charge a lot of money for these sort of things here. We tax you on this and we tax you on that. But if you hire 51% Canadian labor, then we'll not do all that stuff. And we'll give you, I think Canada was like 42% or some shit like that, incentives.
oh,
And
I have no idea.
it was something ridiculous in Quebec.
There's a
and-
movie. There's a big empty box, like concrete, like box on the edge of my town that's made exactly for that. The concrete's
Right.
barely dried, and they're
Yeah.
like tariffs on anything out of Canada. They're like,
Yep.
as they're like finishing the walls, like.
Yep. You couldn't have said this like 3 years ago, you motherfuckers. Yeah.
And
No, I
like
mean, it's
down
so
the,
stupid.
they shot like Liam Neeson was like you pretending to be on an ice road, fuck, like you know about 20 kilometers that way from me, you know, like on a lot near the highway, like you know,
Yeah,
it's got a wall, it's a green screen behind it. And shit.
No, I get it. It's just the dumbest fucking thing is instead of saying, hey, let's do what the other countries are doing when it comes to getting the industries and films to shoot over here. Who really wants to shoot in America? I mean, if you think about, unless you're doing something like, you know, like Cityscape that's like specific to Los Angeles or New York or Miami.
Even then, they shot Spider-Man in Vancouver, and they just
And I was going to
CG'd
say
in.
that. Yeah.
They shot like 5 scenes that they needed in New York City, and the rest was Vancouver.
Yeah, no, I was exactly
which
what I was
is
about to
where
say.
a major part of our film industry is.
I was just about to say that the issue is, it's when you're talking about city specifics, you can fucking shoot all of your city specific stuff, like all the big sweeping wide shots and all your establishing shit. There's a lot of stock footage you can just buy, you can get. It's readily available. That you don't need. So the issue is getting people into sound stages in the States, and when you have companies that are, or not companies, we have countries that are saying, "Hey, we'll give you incredible rates, incredible discounts on not just like space lots, but like equipment, rentals, rental house agreements, all this shit." And instead of saying, "Hey, let's do some of that. Let's take some of that tax money that we're taking and I don't know, maybe incentivize people to bring their shit back here as opposed to, because if I want to shoot something cinematically nice and pretty, and it needs to be the French countryside, I want to go and shoot it in fucking France, where they're going to give me a discount."
The comment from Zer0's California has a lot of different landscapes due to how many latitudes it crosses. What's funny about that is I just think of Austin Powers, where he's like, "It's amazing how in no way does Southern California look like the English countryside." Like,
Yeah.
because they're supposed to be like in the English countryside, and or I can't remember. It's supposed to be that they're like supposed to be somewhere else, but they're very obviously in California.
Yeah.
But he's driving he's driving the Union Jack car. For some reason, I thought it was an American car, but I'm like, no, he's a British.
British guy.
My brain was malfunctioning. But yeah, so they're supposed to be in the British countryside, but it's like very obviously Southern California.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
so there's going to be a lot more of that.
right. But even if you think about just that scene in the film, we're talking like what, 2 minutes of the movie? That's not, people don't generally go, every now and again you'll get some, like Adam Sandler has this thing where he wants to be, whenever he takes a new movie, he wants it to be in someplace cool. So he like vacations while he's going out there, wants to be somebody new. But at the end of the day, there's very few places that you can't fake or,
No, of course.
You know what I mean?
They use Winnipeg here as a stand-in for Chicago all the time.
Yeah,
because
right.
it's one of the other places in North America where you can go to certain corners and shoot in any direction and never hit a modern building. It'll all be historic brick buildings from the era.
Yeah,
they use us as a stand-in for Chicago all the time, and it's because it's a lot less busy downtown here. Right. So like shutting a street down, paying to shut a street down for the day is like way cheaper.
Right. If you talking about that, like if I want to shoot in New York, do you know how much it costs to shut citywide blocks or streets or any fucking thing in New York, in San Francisco, Los Angeles?
Aren't we talking like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to
Easy.
for like permits, basically just the permits alone,
the permit,
let alone the logistics.
You gotta so you gotta have the permits. You've got to have. That's why. So there's a not very famous scene, but there's a scene in the Terminator where Arnold Schwarzenegger walks up to this station wagon and punches out the window. That was all filmed guerrilla. They had no permits. They didn't own that car. That was just a car that was there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because they couldn't afford it. It was like, just do it. And Arnold's like,
yeah.
And it was like, no, good. You can punch this window out. No big deal. And he's like, all right, fuck it. But no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Instead of saying we're going to fucking charge out the wazoo, and part of like in Los Angeles, like the Malibu crowd, they're real like, fuck you. I don't want you filming over here unless you're paying a lot of money because we have a lot of money and we don't want that all the bullshit. And I get it. Traffic is horrible. But at the end of the day, we're not talking about, we're talking about how do we get people to film in the States? You don't tariff them for going somewhere else. You just say, all right, how about we not tax the shit out of you?
Did you ever watch Stargate SG-1?
A long time ago.
It was okay. So what I love about the early seasons of SG-1 before their budget obviously at some point increased when they started becoming popular.
Yeah.
Because sci-fi budgets are always like this big, right? And then they got like this much budget after a while, right?
It depends, right? So it depends.
But sci-fi is usually start a little cheaper and then they'll expand out.
Are you talking about sci-fi the channel or sci-fi the
no
genre?
Sci-fi in general, the genre
Okay.
sometimes is given slightly smaller budgets initially. I think
depends.
TV, not movie. Like because I find that they either way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Their budget was obviously smaller, and it's
Right.
all Vancouver. The SG1
Yeah.
was 100% shot in Vancouver.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at is I loved how it was like every single episode, because the first seasons are so campy. It's like, oh, it's like them like meeting with like a Genghis Khan kind of person. Like
Right.
it feels very like original Star Trek kind of thing. Like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
right.
a planet of humans that are living in the Dust Bowl.
Yeah.
Like it's like, so what I loved about it though is that it was like every planet they fucking went to, they go through the Stargate, they come out the other side, they're like, it appears to be a mountainous terrain with pine trees and low-hanging fog. Like it's like, you mean just like outside Vancouver? Yes, like almost like we drove maybe an hour to film everything.
Right. Yeah.
It's like every fucking episode. If you ever go back and watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anybody who's listening, it's like every single episode, the planet. It's like you could see like this being a nice cottage by the lake they're filming by, because it's, you know, it's got like redwood trees and like it's.
Right.
Anyways,
Yeah.
it's
Like I
just
said,
funny.
that's the thing. It's the idea of we're going to punish you for shooting someplace where they're giving you. No, that's not how you do it. That's not how Atlanta got people to leave California to go to Georgia and shoot in Georgia. That's not how Texas is doing it. That's how anybody else do it. People left California because Georgia, as a state, said we're going to give you a lot of money in either like rebates, and I think Georgia was 34%, something like that, 34%. Basically, your entire post-production budget you would get back. So if you have a $5 million film, you're going to get 34% of that $5 million back, roughly speaking. Of course, there are different ways they play the numbers and whatever. Hell, Mississippi, I think Mississippi is giving 36% back, just like cutting you a check on the spot. You bring your receipts to the film commissioner, like, here, I spent this much money. Here's
Like
all
no,
the
like not the mail-in rebate. You're getting the direct at the till.
right.
Yeah.
Whereas like other places, like Texas is a 6 month waiting to get approval, and then you submit all of your receipts and your bills and whatnot, and then there's another 6 months after that. So you're waiting, like a year ish until you see that money back. Which I hope, now that we've passed our $2.5 billion over the next, I don't know, I think it's over the next 10
Your
years.
big beautiful bill?
No, not that piece of shit.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
No.
I thought you got that big beautiful bastard through.
No, fucking hell. You know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk politics.
No, I know. I agree, because even actually, I'll be honest with you, even Carney, like I found out recently, like he gave exclusions to all of the tariffs we implemented, and so our tariffs back are effectively zero.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that pisses me off so much. But it's like he's trying to protect the economy, and I'm like, I did vote for him because I wanted him to protect the economy, so I can't be upset if that's what he thinks he needs to do.
Yeah.
So it's whatever. So I think that at the end of the day, it's all just going to turn into a big nothing burger anyways, but we'll find out. But
I mean, for
yeah,
you
let's
guys,
not talk.
for Canada, sure.
Well, I wish he'd stop talking about annexing us. I'll be honest with you. It's very
He's not
annoying.
going to. I mean, he's going to say that because he thinks it's pissing off your prime minister, and everybody's like, I don't give a shit. It's not going to happen.
I mean, it probably pissed off Trudeau. I don't think Carney gives a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Carney, first of all, helped him win the election. Second of all, so thank you. And second of all, Carney strikes me as like an absolute polar opposite of him, in the sense of like Trump doesn't read or study anything, and we've got the guy who gets an erection over like fucking graphs and charts, I think.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I think it's like the polar opposite. Like I think that's like, we got the guy who's literally just like, he like gets a new pen out of his ass when he runs it. You know what I mean? He just pulls
Right.
one out. It's like, there's where I put that. Always got to have extras.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah,
Anyways, but yeah.
like I said, the idea that we're gonna, yeah, right, exactly, Craven Mordick, yeah.
But anyways, that's a topic for another night. We are,
Yeah.
truth be told, we don't want to rag on that all the time. There's a lot to talk about there, and it's, we'll pack it into a single night of bitching and moaning.
Oh, sure. By the way, Terry SD is, what did you say he was? He is local 669, loud and proud. Very good. Good. Local 669 should be, wait, if he's DIT, Yeah, that's right. There should be Local 669, which is in the I can't remember what guild it is. It's in IATSE for certain because IATSE is a collection of all the guilds. But I should be 484, but I just haven't joined the union yet because it doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense for me to join the union right now. Because Texas is a right to fire state. Anyway,
Oh, what? So they can just fire you for joining the union?
no, it's more so that the state doesn't have to recognize the union. It's great for when we have California or union recognize our union productions coming into Texas. And you get a lot of that with like the Taylor Sheridan stuff. The thing I don't like about the Taylor Sheridan stuff though is he's found an interesting way to kind of like subvert the 51%. Or actually, I think now it got it dropped. I want to say he got it dropped from 51% Texas labor down to like 35% Texas labor. But he was even subverting that by doing one of two things. He would either have, International Cinematographer Guild. Thank you, Terry. Oh, and then Craven Morday says, I answer 122 right there. Good job. Love it. But anyway, so what Taylor Sheridan would do is he would, because he's got like 1884, Lioness, all those types of shows, like Tulsa King, all those shows, you know. Guy's got more, like all the Paramount money is Taylor Sheridan.
Sounds like.
Yeah. But what he does is he'll come and hire local Texas to either do one or two things. Either he'll hire all of his PAs as local Texas hires. PAs aren't a part of a guild. There's no PA guild, not yet anyways. I know they're trying to start one, but they haven't done it yet. They need to. Or what he'll do is he'll hire everybody Texas-wise and then fire them after he brings in his crew. So he still meets that threshold because he originally hired Texas crew, Texas labor, but he just brings in his own fucking labor after a certain point. That's fucking bullshit. Or he'll have his guys from California come in and establish residency here in Texas, but they don't really fucking live here. Again, bullshit. That's what I hate about this shit. All the loopholes. Because out of that $2.5 billion, I think he's getting like the lion's share of it, no pun intended. Because granted, he is bringing a whole mess of, bullshit in, which is fine. But come on, let us, the guys who actually live in the state, I live like 20 miles away from where he shoots Lioness. There's no reason why I shouldn't be on that show. There's no reason why I should lose that job to a California transplant who came in specifically to do that. You know?
Those poor Californians, though, don't they need money for those $1 million homes?
Oh, fuck. They do. But I need
it's like
money
the one place where
money.
houses cost more than in Canada.
It's crazy out there.
Right. I hear so much bullshit on so many American channels though about they'll be like, well, it's like you can't even get a house under $1 million in Canada. I'm like, they're actually effectively similarly priced. I did this the other day. The average, the median American house price is like $450 roughly American, and the average median Canadian house price is $650. And if you turn $650 Canadian into American, it's like 423,000 or something like that. So it's like virtually the same price in houses. But
Yeah.
Because the median, not if you average it, if you do the median income, the median income in America is actually lower than the median income in Canada. So we have a bit more buying power that we use towards the house that costs more in Canadian. And of course, your median income is lower, but it's an American. Like it almost works out identically too. Like right. we're so much more similar in what we all make, and like there's like it's the only part where Trump's kind of right about there being like an invisible line across, because like the business that's occurring is almost like somebody one time was like, I was arguing with on Twitter, was like, you have an economy the size of Texas. I'm like, we have the population of Texas. it's a 1-to-1 almost. It's right. Like, and we have like almost a 1-to-1 economy. I mean, you can't. It's like, I was like, do I need to explain to you the connection between population and economy size? But
yes, you do, because people don't understand. They just don't get it. They don't understand. Like the number one, and this is the last political thing I want to talk about before we get on to the video. But the number one thing
Yeah, and we
here
got some Elon Musk, which is slightly political, but
that's
not as.
slightly, yeah, not as.
Yeah,
But
it's more about cars and stuff.
yeah, the number one, like people talking about contentions against the whole nonsense of like universal health care in the state of Texas are the United States. People are like, well, we can't afford it because we can't base it on what they do in Denmark or Sweden or all these other places because they don't have as many people. I'm like, what fucking sense does that make? Okay, they have a smaller population. How? Let's draw the conclusions here. What do you mean? Well, is it because we need more doctors? Well, we have more doctors. Well, we need more money. Yes, we would need more money to pay said doctors and whatnot. But we also have more people who are paying into the system, more taxes. So the purse pool is bigger. There's no like those two things just don't. You know what I mean?
Well, plus economic, like we rate we rate economy size based on, well, I guess it's GDP that we're most of the time we're usually talking about, but GDP, gross domestic product, is going to always be a direct result of like it's partly like success as a business and like selling abroad and
No, I understand.
but it's like you said, it's all I was getting towards is that like population's always going to drive economic activity, so your GDP by nature will go up because there's more business occurring
Right.
within the nation. So you're always going to have an increase.
The thing that Craven Mordick here says is honestly, I have no issue paying a bit more in taxes to have universal health care, which who was it? Was it Bernie Sanders did a cost comparison breakdown of what it costs, even if we didn't reallocate funds that we already pay in taxes, if we had a tax increase, if you look at it, the tax increase is less than the savings per year on healthcare that we would see. We're talking about premiums, office visits, procedures, medications, etc.
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, we pay actually less. Okay, so I looked at the tax brackets. Americans pay like because they always talk about, even Trump was talking about like Canadians paying lower taxes. Like we pay, so if you're on the bottom end of the scale, like in income, like barely at the point where you're even paying taxes, it's like a 1% difference in income tax.
Yeah.
But like when you're in the middle class, American income tax is actually higher by a couple percent. It's the only place in Canada where an American would pay lower taxes than you is the upper middle class. Like we're talking like making like $300,000 a year or 250 to 300 or something like that. So you're like upper middle class, bordering on like becoming slightly wealthy. And then that's it. But even the wealthy pay a higher tax, and then you still, I'd have to get the graph out, but I remember looking at it. And it was eye-opening. There are certain points where Americans pay slightly less, but there are other points where we're paying less. But our health care is included in that number.
Right.
And you guys still then have to tack on your, $1,200 a month for a family plan, health insurance kind of thing for a family of 4 or 5 or whatever it costs. So once you add that on, the average American's actually paying more, like considerably more in taxes.
Oh, yeah.
And in general, a lot of the other things like there's problems in any system. Like right now, if you go to the hospital and you're not an emergency, you're going to be waiting there all day because they've got people they got to take care of, and you're.
But
not
that's the
dying.
same thing in the States. So
It's just called triage, right?
Well,
so
yeah, the thing that kills me the most when people talk about this, and again, here we are chasing rabbits, but the thing that kills me the most, people talk about, the wait times in Canada are terrible. I said, okay, yeah, if you need a rhinoplasty that's not life-threatening, yeah, you're going to wait some time. But here in the States, the wait time's terrible too. If you need a it took me like 6 months to get an MRI, or not 6 months, 6 weeks to get an MRI. Which, granted, is not. I mean, it's not slow, but we're talking about an issue dealing with. They thought I was having strokes, If I was having a
Oh,
stroke, it only,
you'd probably get the MRI faster here if they thought you were having strokes.
yeah,
If they think though, like for me, I waited a year for an MRI, but that was because it was like knee pain, and it was like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain are you in? 1 being next to none, and 10 being like can't function. And it was
right,
like, 5, and
yeah,
it's like, we'll put you on the list, kind of thing, right? So yeah, it's not like where some people would say, oh, like if I want to get fixed, but like I don't know, I don't see a problem with that. However, there's like anything, you'll have somebody like I think recently somebody died in the waiting room because when they assessed her initially, she didn't seem to be that bad, and then all of a sudden shit goes south sometimes real quick, right?
yeah.
And everybody's always like, if they were in the hospital, they would, yeah, sure, possibly, and maybe, but those are examples of, those. That's not like an everyday occurrence that this happens. I mean, if
Right.
yeah. So, but yeah,
But
no, it's
here's a big benefit. Here's a big benefit. If I get cancer in Canada, I'm not gonna, fucking go broke. I'm not gonna have to file bankruptcy and lose my house and all this shit because I have cancer.
yeah, and they attack cancer pretty aggressively. Like they know. You got to remember too, as a country, we get statistics as a whole. So
Right.
even if you look at it from a financial standpoint, the most successful treatments will get pushed forward. So if they find after they spend a whole bunch of money doing these treatments on cancer and none of those treatments end up working, the people continue to have cancer, eventually perish. We pump all this money into them, and financially, you can see it's unsuccessful. So, what they'll do is they'll take the treatments that are unsuccessful and they'll tell the hospitals, like, you're no longer allowed to do these treatments. Instead, for this problem, we use this treatment.
Yeah.
And it's because this treatment has been effective, not these treatments. Whereas, because it's centralized, you get a lot less individual opinion, which some people might say is not a great thing in some cases. But I think that when it comes to when we're talking about trying to make people better, I just got the chili in my ear now.
What happened? Oh,
Jesus. When I subpoena your information and I find out who you are,
I'm trying to see
I'm
who.
gonna die.
Oh, there it is. Ah, there he was. Anyways, it's hard to talk while Chili's talking in my ear.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Like, it
no,
was
you're good.
Shut
I
me,
mean, I understand.
shut me right down. But anyways, they tend to go after the most effective treatments, and so I think there's a lot more statistics collected when you centralize everything too, instead of
Yeah.
having 1,000 different hospitals choosing
Well, so,
1,000
hang
different
on.
courses of treatment.
hang on. Here's the thing. We have centralized statistics here in the States as well. It's just centralized to the privatized insurance companies. And we have the opposite of what you're talking about. See, Canada says, "Hey, this really expensive thing is a way to go." So we're going to tell hospitals not to do anything but this one because this is the effective one. Whereas we've got insurance companies that are saying, "Hey, I understand that these particular procedures aren't as effective as this costly one,
But let's try them first.
but you're going to try those
Yeah.
first and hope that they work." We're gambling that we're gambling in that either one of those 3 treatments is going to work, or you're going to die before you get to this big treatment. So
Yeah,
either way, we're not paying
100%.
for it. That's so fucked up.
Yep. See, whereas here it's based on like the economics and obviously efficacy. So if it works, then and this other one has less, like a 40% chance of working, and this one has an 80% chance of working, we're gonna throw away the one that has a 40% chance of working, and we're gonna use the one that has 80%
Right.
on every situation possible, unless there's a reason why we need to be looking outside the box, kind of thing, right? So. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, but it's all part of bulk buying too. So then when we buy like MRIs and things like that,
Yeah.
we buy 5 of them and we put them in 5 different hospitals in different regions across the country. Whereas like so we're bulk buying too. So it's like anything, you're able to get a better price on the equipment, and it's just, yeah, it works. I mean, it does seem to work so far. Everybody always says it's going to collapse by the time they need it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you're gonna get people like Warlock Holmes here. So I think everything, even the countries where healthcare is free, the medical establishment needs a major revamp. If America just going to go backwards, not good. But there's no evidence that suggests that because we go to universal healthcare that the medical establishment goes backwards. There's no correlation there.
No, I think he's saying that, like, I think he's just saying that like, anywhere where the medical system needs a rework anyways kind of thing. I do think that to a certain
100%.
degree, I think the medical systems everywhere need a bit of a... It's hard. Medicine's hard. Let's face it. It's difficult. I mean, we're learning...
the bitch of it is...
we're learning shit about shit all the time.
Yeah, like just now we're talking about cancer treatments. And yes, there are some that are going to be the most effective ones at 80% effective. That's still 20% ineffective. That's just a thing. And, you know, yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
You get people where they come along and you get people where the doctor comes along and they go, oh, this is no big deal. We're just going to give you this antibiotic that always gets rid of this thing. And then they put it in and they watch how the bacteria's become resistant to that medicine, the one that they always fucking use. And then they're like, oh, shit. Well, hey, listen, we're going to give you 3 of these at the same fucking time now because we're scared of what's inside of you. Essentially.
Right.
Because they try to overwhelm it. That's what they do. They'll hit you with... I've heard of them hitting people with 7 different antibiotics at the same time.
Oh,
and eradicating their gut culture, everything in the process, right?
No, I'm not gonna name this person, but I worked with an actor who was going through like some extreme, like, this person was borderline sepsis by the time they finally got this person into, you know, like really testing to find out what was going on. And it got to the point where it was like extreme antibiotic treatment because of the amount of infection that was happening. And that's because that's because we had this whole idea of, well, you have these symptoms suggest this particular thing is wrong with you, and the treatment for this particular thing is this. It's not, you have these symptoms, let me test and then get the results of that test before we start pumping you full of shit.
Don't criticize me for giving my dog heartworm medicine without testing it first.
Well, there's a difference between heartworm.
You're not supposed
to. Well, you're not supposed to.
If you don't know, like, I didn't give him to him religiously last summer, so we were like, I guess we should get him tested before we start. Actually, now that I mention it, we're like behind schedule. Well, something to do next week.
Right. But yeah, anyway, let's you know what? We only have like another hour, so let's do something less fucking.
You would try to be productive, you know?
Yeah.
Johnny coming in here being productive. Okay. Well, on that note, let's just
circling the drain. The drain. So the chair of the board of Tesla has sold almost all of her stock in the company about a month after Musk said this.
Kathy Wood at ARK Invest do see the future. What I'm saying is hang on to your stock.
So when the chair of the board of your company takes a look at your advice, takes a look at the dumpster fire of the company, and immediately sells basically all of her shares.
This party's over.
I mean, we're only about a year after I posted this on April 26th, 2024. That, what was it, 3 years till bankruptcy. And it's like, holy crap, it looks like this might be the only time Musk has delivered something ahead of schedule. And barely in my last video.
People, because we're here to not totally watch this, we're here to talk about it. Yeah. Just so everybody knows, if you don't know, Elon Musk still has not made anything on schedule, but he still hasn't even... Okay, hold on. I'm going to asterisk this. I'm going to say what I want to say first. He hasn't even started designing the Roadster. He's been collecting down payments for. And but before anybody says, yes, but he did announce the Roadster. You know what? That was funny to me because I had just finished telling somebody, I'm like, he still has a Roadster he's collected like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of prepayments on, and he hasn't even designed it. There's not even been a mention of it. And it was like the next month he's like, because he was in shit, and all of a sudden it's like, guess what? The new Roadster's coming. And so you get this mock-up picture that's like, obviously you got like the art department to be like, sketch up a fucking Roadster.
Right.
And so there's a picture of the Roadster. They don't have any fucking details at all about it whatsoever. whatever, which is probably the company being hush hush, right?
Right.
In reality, it was that he started to realize, or somebody started being like, hey, listen, you're going to be called out as a grifter here for this bullshit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, I better throw some shit at the wall to like, you know, spackle the wall up so it looks pretty.
Let me
But
call
yeah,
up
so
Chip Foose and have him make a pretty picture, and I can show everybody this pretty picture like we're actually doing something. No, yeah, that the Roadster self-drive that's hasn't happened.
I've heard it's gone backwards.
Self-drive?
So I've heard that I've heard the full self-driving is now like assisted self-driving, or it's like a glorified lane holder now or something.
Yeah.
Like, because it was like
That's
people
all it
can't
is.
even like, people aren't even able to take their eyes off the road to like change the CD player without it like yelling at them like, get your fucking eyes back on the road.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the first iteration of it, it couldn't determine the difference between black people and shadows.
But
Now get this.
sorry, it's just funny because of his history.
I was just about to say, extrapolate what I'm telling you. Elon supports the
Oh my God.
new Schmatzy party in Germany.
Oh my God.
Has designed a car that
He's like, it's
doesn't
an
run over
apartheid
white
mobile.
people.
It's a fucking. He's like, you just set these loose on the streets and it takes care of the problem yourself.
Right. And in
Oh
early
my
testing,
God.
it had a difficulty determining the difference between shadows and black folks. So it would just
It has troubles with mirrors too,
Yeah.
because it uses cameras and not LiDAR. So it can't tell the difference between a mirror and the road continuing like fucking Wile E. Coyote.
Yep.
Like, it's like, tries to do the Roadrunner thing and go through it. And I'm not talking about, I think that was a fact. That's why when people got upset about, what's his name recently that did the video on it? And
Yeah.
Rober.
Yeah.
And people were like, this is a known defect in the vehicle, that it's driven under transport. It's sheared the top of the vehicle off on multiple occasions because it was like, cream-colored sky, cream-colored transport back. There's nothing wrong here. Just fucking take you right underneath it.
Yep.
So yeah, no, it's turns off just before the crash. Yeah, well, so there's a possibility that it like disables itself as the crash is occurring because it's like trying not to drive anymore at that point. Like once well, you know what I mean? Like once the algorithm determined, I did watch that, and once the algorithm determined it was going to crash, there's a possibility it shuts itself off. But I don't think it was like to be like the full self-driving wasn't active when it crashed. Maybe, you never know.
Yeah. You know,
I don't know
what
that
isn't
one.
active when it crashed? The people living, or the people inside of it, they were no longer active after it crashed.
And then the Cybertruck's been like getting people trapped inside and burning to death inside it.
Yep.
And by the way, the best built vehicle on Earth, glued together.
Yeah.
Crazy glue.
Yeah.
Actually, he doesn't. Hold on, we'll get there. Okay, let's do this because he has a pretty good.
Musk, with the Wall Street Journal reporting that Tesla was looking for someone else to head the company and to handle the bankruptcy and shred as many documents as possible to try and keep the previous board members out of jail. Oh, sorry, I'm just getting a little ahead of myself there. At the moment, we're just currently at the Wall Street Journal reporting that they're looking for someone else to run Tesla. Now, bear in mind that the Tesla is valued at roughly 10 times what a regular car company would be valued at, is because of a decade of bullshit promises from one Elon Musk. And without him huffing up the shares and promising...
I remember all this bullshit too. The fucking solar panel roofs, he didn't do anything with that either.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, it was all fake. The houses were fake. They hadn't wired any of the panels in. I listen, I might be incorrect, but like I believe this was like actual factual information. And if I get a cease and desist, I may rethink that though. I'm sure I won't, but I'm sure I won't get one of those, but I would rethink it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, I'm almost positive the reporting on it was that it was fake, that the houses were set up, and it was all bullshit.
That the company's value is going to go up by like a factor of 10. I mean, all you really need to know is this is the exact...
I remember him shattering the fucking unbreakable windows. Awesome. And then they claimed it was because the window was down a little
yeah.
bit, which weakened the fucking integrity. Bro, that window
Right.
is shattered in a goddamn circle like that.
Right.
Like that's not because the fucking weakened integrity. That's because it can't take a ball bearing to it.
Yes.
Which would be okay. Just don't admit it can. Don't say it can.
Right. Yeah. To be fair, I don't know very many windows that can take a ball bearing.
Yes. It's okay. It's okay. It's just glass, Elon. You don't have to lie about it.
I mean, I ask yourself this: how many people need Secret Service level fucking windows in their cars? You know what I'm saying? Why is that?
I don't even know if
so
that's what I
stupid.
don't know. It's part of the whole Iron Man image. Everything is impervious.
I guess that man, that truck just looks stupid. I swear to Christ, it looks like
It's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It is.
I'm waiting for Quato to come popping out of that fucking thing. Yeah. You don't know Quato, do you?
I do not.
You gotta look
don't.
up the original Total Recall. Just look up Quato Total Recall.
Okay, here. I'm gonna let it play for a second while I do
Musk
that.
has been giving for about the last 10 years.
To imagine a future where
Imagine.
suddenly a 10 million vehicle fleet has 5 to 10 times.
What the fuck?
So if you watch Total Recall, the original one, they have a car that looks very similar to the Tesla truck. But that's
Wait, this isn't. Are we talking about this?
that's Quato. Yeah, that's the guy who comes out of the but if you anyway,
Oh, okay. Wait, there's a vehicle in here.
here's a vehicle in you don't have
What, this bullshit?
there's a couple in there that look very much like some some fucking swashta cars. It was I think it was one of the tanks at the end. Yeah, that fucking thing.
It's so ugly. I don't know what
Yeah.
they thought was going to happen in the future, but
Me either.
Usefulness.
Imagine.
It's so profound, and there's no comparison with anything in the past that they just can't. It does not compute, but it will compute.
Yeah, sure it will. Next year. I mean, it's not like we've got a decade or so of a fraudster's track record of fraud or anything, to base our judgment on.
You're as intelligent as you can predict the future well. Because if somebody claims, well, this person or this AI is very intelligent, like, well, how good are its predictions? And if its predictions are not very good, it's not that smart in the future. And some people like Kathy Wood at ARK Invest do see the future.
Let's see. ARK Invest, that's Cathy Wood's fund, for 3 years delivered a return of negative 7.5%. That is, it lost money.
Kathy Wood at ARK Invest do see the future, but its predictions are not very good. It's not that smart.
And a 5-year return of 1.5%, which is terrible compared to the S&P 500, which would give you a 3-year return of about 13% and a 5-year return of about 17%. And if you're wondering why Musk is quoting one of the worst performing stock fund managers on the planet to support his case, it's because Cathy Wood has been promising forever that Tesla stock is going to increase by like 10 times in a few years. This was 6 years ago.
Next guest thinks Tesla has room to...
that's awesome. There's also. I'm going to let him keep going here a little bit because I want to talk about some of the graphs he gets to and stuff.
run. In fact, she thinks Tesla could hit $15,000 a share within the next 4 years. Let's bring in ARK Invest CEO and founder Cathy Wood. Cathy, welcome.
This was Elon Musk appearing on Cathy Wood's podcast some 6 years ago.
So I wrote software for like 15 years.
Isn't it a conflict of interest to be somebody who operates a money fund and to be doing okay, so I guess where I'm going with this is, it not suspicious to you for someone to basically, whose job it is to make money off of these investments, to go on the circuit and tell you how much, because other than trying to sell your own fund that's maybe heavy into the stock, what benefit is it to you to tell all these other plebs out there how high a stock is going to go? In fact, fundamentally, it's actually in your... So let's pretend you believed this. Let's pretend you wholeheartedly believed Tesla to 15,000 or 1,500, whatever. You're actually doing yourself a disservice by letting everybody know, because what you would be doing is you would be maximizing your increasing of that stock. The last thing you'd want is to tell everybody around you and say, hey, this stock over here is dynamite. You should buy as much of this as possible because it's going to pump the stock. And then now, so it's self-fulfilling. So pumping the stock, if you actually believed it was going to go that high, would be bad for you to attain more of it, which would allow you to make more money. But because you own the stock, pumping the stock is good for you because you can immediately offload some of the stock that you just made increase in value. Like it's super cyclical.
Seems like a pump and dump scheme, at least a little bit, by overvaluing and getting people to buy so you can sell what you have, and then
yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like if you believed in it, you wouldn't do that. Now, I mean, I guess there's no downside, is there? If you can get a bunch of people, because I mean, if you already own it and it pumps, then you can drop your bags on their chest, and then so like I think it's just that these people, there's no downside to them. They're dealing with so much money at this point. It's like when Elon Musk goes Dogecoin to the moon, and then Dogecoin goes up by 30%.
And then it tanks. Yeah.
And then it tanks 3 days later because, of course, it does. It's Dogecoin.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, I don't understand. Elon said it was going to go to the moon. But it's like Elon literally just gamed you like you were a fucking slot machine at a casino.
Right. Look, here's the thing.
That's crazy.
You should never don't buy meme coin with the expectation that it's going to do what Bitcoin did, right? I bought meme coin like for I think $10 worth of Shiba Inu, and I have like 3 million fucking coin, and I don't even know. I can't remember. It's something ridiculously low in Dogecoin. I have that in case it does. Should something just randomly insane happen and those coins take off, yeah, that's great. I got, a little nest egg. But if it doesn't, I'm losing nothing. It's like the cheapest lottery ticket ever.
If you know how those meme coins move, you can definitely make money with them. Like I remember at the peak of last cycle, I just I don't know why, I can't remember the reason, but Shiba Inu was popping up and down a bunch of times, and I just I bought like $100 of Shiba, and then like proceeded to sell $100 of Shiba every day for the next few days. So I think I turned 100 into like $300 maybe.
Yeah.
And like I did the same thing once I figured out one of the crypto YouTubers was pumping and dumping his audience, like a lot of them do. It was BitBoy Crypto. Once I figured out BitBoy Crypto was like, it was so obvious. It was so fucking obvious. He would do a video on a coin. The coin would immediately spike, because of course it does.
Right.
He has millions of subscribers.
Yeah.
And then literally 2 or 3 hours later, the coin would crash.
Of course.
So all I did is one day I turned on YouTube. I was upstairs. I opened up my phone and I went to YouTube, and it was a BitBoy Crypto's channel, and it said posted 3 seconds ago. And so literally like I was there first, and I didn't even watch the video. I just looked at the symbol in the video and the title, and I went, I'm pretty sure that's on Coinbase. And I closed YouTube, opened Coinbase, and bought $100 of it. And for the next 3 hours, I dumped another $100 every hour for 3 hours. And so I think on that one I made like $300 or $400 because I had figured out that he is pumping and dumping that audience, and as long as you don't hold it, you just get rid of it afterwards. It'll be fine. So yeah, you can, but that's him actively. And I'm like, listen, if I was able to do it as an audience member, there's a 0% chance that they're not doing it as the people running the channel.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, hell, fucking Trump did it with Trump coin. What happened? What?
Yeah, anyway. I know, right? Anyway.
20 I know what we need to solve to make full self-driving feature complete. I'm certain that we will get this done this year. Feature complete with full self-driving this year, with certainty. This is something that we control, and I manage autopilot engineering directly every week in detail. So I'm certain of this. I'm a finance person or something like that. I'm an engineer. I do engineering.
Yeah, none of that was true. And some 6 years on, there is still no full self-driving.
Feature complete with full self-driving this year, with certainty.
In fact, it's actually been demoted to
With
full
certainty.
self-driving supervised. And just so we're clear how not full self-driving this is, it comes with this warning label. Full self-driving supervised is a hands-on feature that requires you to pay attention to the road at all times. Keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times. Be mindful of road conditions and surrounding traffic. Pay attention to pedestrians and cyclists and be prepared to take immediate action. So
have you seen the footage of the Chinese people like going to sleep on the freeway?
Oh,
like
no.
not in a Tesla, like in China with their self-driving. And by the way, everybody, this is not me saying China's got great self-driving. This is me saying that those people are putting their lives in like, and maybe it does. It's just that I don't think there's anybody self-driving is advanced enough to be going to sleep on the road trip.
No.
Like, I just don't.
Look, here's the thing. If you don't want to have to actually, drive your car, take a cab, take an Uber, take a bus, take a train. Don't fuck. It's so stupid. So stupid.
Hold on. I'll see if I can find. They're doing Mayoine right now over on Shizn's.
What are they doing?
Mayoine. It's where you dress up for Mayoine, like Halloween. I did, except I don't know if I can come back now. I'm joking. I was Dr. Disrespect last year, so. Or was it the year before?
No.
It was before that though. It was like a few months before that, or not even a month before. I was like, "Oh, that was bad timing."
Jeez.
I mean, I wasn't endorsing him or anything,
No. Of course not.
I won't find one of these videos, but I'll find it another day for you. But like, anyways, they all tuck themselves in and they're like flying down the highway. I'm like, that's not smart.
That's not smart.
It requires the same amount of attention as driving. And this is the same product they intend to use for their robo-taxis in less than a month.
Nope.
Yeah, this is never going to happen. Meanwhile...
Oh, the car doesn't... They're designed like you can take... As soon as you apply pressure, it gives up control. Like it defaults to the human now, provided it doesn't fail. But I think that's pretty programmed. I think that's hard programmed into it pretty on a pretty high level.
Kathy is spouting the same old bullshit she was some 6 years ago.
Autonomous vehicles are robots. We think that robo-taxis will account for 90% of the value of the company in 5 years. And we're on record saying we believe in 5 years the stock will hit $2,600.
Yeah, just so we're clear, this is what the Tesla stock value looks like. Whereas if it were valued as a car company, it would be somewhere down here. Valued as a swastika company, probably somewhat lower, and the prediction from one of the worst performing stock fund managers on the planet.
I believe in 5 years the stock will hit $2,600.
Yeah, sure it will, with sales crashing everywhere, and shock and horror, no savior, magical, functioning vaporware products. With all of that, it's going to find that miracle performance that your top analysts predicted 5 years ago. This was before you got into the Cybertrucks going straight from the factory floor to the storage lot. But how can I claim that Tesla is merely a car company? Well, because...
10,000 Cybertrucks unsold. That's horrible.
Well, I mean, it's a piece of shit. And I feel bad for everybody who bought one because they bought a giant fucking piece of shit.
You seen the footage of people like trying to like do basic things with it? A normal truck could do, no problem. Right. And they're like taking it to like load things up, and it's like, oh, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
It has no suspension. If you get it on an uneven ground, the wheels are so rigid that a wheel will come off the ground. Is what'll happen. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like it's like a goddamn soapbox derby car.
I just don't understand why people thought this was a good idea.
He even said in his own words, "We dug our grave with Cybertruck." He realizes this thing's a piece of shit.
Yes.
Anyways.
Basically, for all of those last 5 years, almost all of its revenue came
this
from
one's
selling
interesting.
cars. In fact, here's a fun thing to do. Let's match up the car sales with the stock price some 5 years ago. And if you're thinking, but the stock price bears absolutely no resemblance to the number of cars they sell, correctamundo. You can see the exact moment that Tesla became a meme stock.
You can, too. It's literally right here.
Yeah.
Right here. It matched, and it followed along. Look at it. Even as the car sales dipped, it would dip down in value.
Right.
And then right here is where all of a sudden it becomes like a fucking meme stock.
Yep.
In fact, it's basically a running joke that Tesla management never buy stock, only sell.
But get this, okay? In the past 3 months, top officials in Tesla, people at the top of the company, they have sold more than 745,000 shares in the company.
And you're selling something that you know has no value.
We are selling to willing buyers at the current fair market price.
In that same period, they have bought 0 shares of the company they work for.
But coming back for a second to the sheer irrationality of the meme stock value of Tesla compared to what the business actually does, which is sell cars. It is clear to even the most menial of simpletons that saying that the company is doing well because the stock is up is something only a complete moron would say.
So what do you...
I mean, you can just look at the stock price. If you want the best inside information, the stock market analysts have that. And our stock wouldn't be trading near all-time highs if it was not, if things weren't in good shape. They're fine. Don't worry about it.
Said the head of Enron 6 months before the company...
These companies are always doing great until they're suddenly not.
Until they're not, yeah. And then they do shit. It's like a that graph right there, just a fall.
Well, look at the thing that's awesome, too, is see the bottom graph? That's volume. So you see how...
Yep.
You see how, like, the share price started falling, and then right here where the world was literally on fire, basically.
Yep.
And that's when all of you get this initial offload of major stocks, and then this final dump when everybody dumped at once, and it just crashed.
Yep.
And that's why it's like big kook and then flatline afterwards.
Yeah, because Tesla was worth like $700 a share at one point during like the height of their nonsense, and then it fucking just
No, it was four something hundred a share.
I thought it got to like 7 something at one point.
No, I don't think so. If you look,
I could be wrong.
I think he had it on the screen here. I'm pretty sure it went up to 400 or 500. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody in the audience might be able to tell me. I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. Yeah, actually, good point. We can just look this up.
Yeah.
How high did Tesla stock get? No, it was like, hold on.
So 436 looks like it.
5 years.
Yeah, I got the 5 year, and then.
Yeah, it went up to 4. Yeah, exactly, up in the 400s.
Yeah.
But that's still from like, if you go from its value of, let's see, in 2019 it was worth $2,200 a share or $22 a share. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like you could get for $15 a share in 2019 at one point. And then it became worth $400 a share. So, I mean, if you bought $10,000 worth of Tesla, actually, we can math this real quickly. So, let's say you bought $10,000 of Tesla in 2019 for $15 a share, let's say. So, you would have got 666. The mark of the beast.
Yeah, no.
You got the mark of the beast in shares.
No.
So now so we got Craven's going to be so happy. 666. We got and actually, where's NANA when you need the guy, times 400 and I don't know. I saw 431. I'm just going to do 431. Okay, that's $250,000. That's almost $300,000. So, some people out there made a very good kickback off that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then Elon Musk went and opened his fucking mouth. And ruined it all.
Fucked everything, yeah.
So, yeah, and it's really just going to be something else.
479? Okay, I'll try that. Times 479. That's $320,000. That's amazing.
I mentioned this before, but
that's the kind of return I want on my money.
Yeah, no
God
shit.
damn.
Like for ARK Invest, I'd recommend reading the ARK Invest analysis.
Morningstar ranked ARK Invest as the worst wealth destroyer family of funds based on decline in assets in dollar terms.
I'd recommend reading the ARK Invest analysis. That's the most accurate. There may be more accurate ones, but the most accurate sort of analysis of.
And if you want to know how Cathy Wood's ARK Invest.
Is this actually true? Is it when Enron was listing its losses as gains? Did it literally just flip the chart upside down?
I think so.
So like if they lost $1 billion, they were like, we made $1 billion. That's fucking insane. I believe it. You know what's crazy? Oh, I was just gonna say, you know what's crazy?
Yeah. Enron scandal drew attention to accounting of corporate fraud. Shareholders lost $74 billion.
Oh my god! Nobody went to prison, right? I bet nobody went to fucking prison.
I don't know. They should have.
Yeah, should have.
It became one of the best destroyers of wealth in the world. It was like this.
Their battery cost is 3 years ahead.
Who's doing the review? Oh, I apologize. Yeah, absolutely. I will tag him. Just so you know, it is Thunderfoot, because Thunderfoot's awesome. 10-second story for y'all. I spoke to Thunderfoot one time in his. One time I spoke to him in Discord, literally, and it's funny because I came in to the voice chat and was like, "Hey, listen, before we get going, I just want to say, like, you know, I had to, what's the word I want to look for here? I had to like gush for a second. I was like,
Okay.
hey, listen, I think it's like an honor to talk to you. And of course, he did the same thing that anybody gets gushed on does, where it's kind of like awkward, where you're like, yeah, I'm not something special, don't worry, awesome, cool.
Yeah.
And then like I had been telling Team Skeptic in the background, I'm like, yo, Thunderfoot's in here. And so Team Skeptic comes in 30 seconds later, and it was like 100% repeat. He's like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know that I think you're great. And like, I can't remember what he said, but like he also gushed for a second. And I just thought it was so funny because Thunderfoot had to spend like a fucking solid 2 minutes being gushed on by two assholes.
Yeah.
And being like, I'm just a nobody. Thanks for watching. Like, goddamn,
Well,
anyways.
Here it is. It's with, yeah. Well, fuck.
Okay, so for the guy, who was that asked? It was NF Cat. Yeah, Thunderfoot's great, and he's actually a real scientist. I know that these are just kind of he really fucking hates Elon. But actually, if you go back a long time,
So they've released the footage of the wreckage they found of the Titan sub, like the one on the left. And if you think it doesn't look like much, turns out this is what's going to kill you. But yeah, you take the pressure off that thing and give it something to expand into, say for instance like a submarine, and it'll expand into that at about the speed of sound in a liquid. Give or take 10 times the speed of sound in a gas, which is give or take.
So I'm just showing you that he is actually a scientist, and he very much does research.
Yeah.
And actually he's been he's in journals as having made chemical discoveries even from within his YouTube channel. Actually, can't remember where it is. I'm just kind of scrolling back because I can't. He really doesn't like Elon though. It's been a long time. But yeah, if you go back a couple of years, there's some videos here where he's like they discovered a chemical composition and everything. But yeah, because he's an actual scientist that's paid. Like he's got a job as a scientist. Anyways, yeah, he's totally worth watching. Yeah, totally worth watching. Here, let's get back into it.
Yeah, let's. I got a few more minutes before I have to bounce. Unfortunately,
when do you got to bounce? By 9 or what? Or,
yeah.
Okay. Well, we can always bring this up in the future.
We should, because this is fun.
Auto manufacturer in terms of the cost declines, and so
yeah, just so we're clear, Tesla never had any special magic battery technology, let alone being 3 years ahead of the pack. Even recently, Tesla buys some 94% of their batteries from just other manufacturers. And seeing as the battery is some 40% of the cost of most electric vehicles, it's not that much of a stretch to say that Tesla isn't really a car company. It's a company that puts wheels and motors on other people's batteries. They never had any magical battery technology that would put them ahead. And that was the amazing analysis of Cathie Wood's some 5 years ago.
The most accurate that I'm aware of is Cathie Wood's ARK Invest. And if I recall correctly, they predicted somewhere over a $5 trillion valuation for Tesla just based on vehicle autonomy, not counting Optimus.
Yeah, and there's this Nigerian princess who really wants to give you like $1 million.
Full self-driving will definitely be ready next year.
Yep.
Really quickly though, just if back to this for 10 seconds, what it really started on is he did like all of these, like a lot of them were Kickstarters.
Yep.
Like or it'd be like, people that would claim, like, there's Optimus years ago, the Tesla bot, see? But he would take, like, videos where people would try to raise money for, Jesus Christ, that's fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you go far enough, that's what these were. They were like devices where the heat ray busted. Busted, these devices that you could buy that, you blow into, and it tells you what you're, he did. This is where he grew like plants in radioactive soil, and also these people that claim they can make diamonds in a certain way, and it's a lot of it. But like a lot of these have real math in them and real like actual like science. It's hard to explain, but he graphs things and he'll literally math it and show you the math. But one thing before we jump out, if you're gonna go in right away, I wanted to show this real quick right here. Okay, so Elon Musk, to get his Grok AI, his Grox AI or whatever, to get to work, he's gone to this place in Memphis and set this bullshit up.
It would be a lot different.
XAI made a deal with the local electric company for 150 megawatts of power and agreed to build a new substation to help meet that demand. But Musk's ambitious plans suggested he would need much more power than that, and fast. Soon, people started to notice some unusual structures outside the facility.
I drove out there, and the first thing I did was hear the turbines. You can smell it as well. Such a disturbingly unique smell.
From the road, Keyshawn and others could see a row of machines that are typically only used for remote or emergency operations. Mobile gas turbines.
I have never seen portable turbines used like this.
Patrick Anderson works on air quality cases for the Southern Environmental Law Center.
We know that these kinds of generators require air permits. And so right off the bat, we started filing records requests with the local Shelby County Health Department. Do you have an air permit application from XAI? And they came back and basically said, no, we have nothing to hand over. We also filed records requests with EPA to see what they had. They also did not have details on what is on the ground out there. Nobody from the regulatory side, the health department, the city, EPA, has told the public or us really one iota of what's actually operating out there.
To figure that out, Patrick and his team hired a photographer to capture the data center from above. The images revealed far more turbines than anyone knew about. 35.
I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely stunned. How do we not know about this?
And thermal camera.
What we saw is 33 of the 35 were very clearly operating.
The turbines were capable of generating about 420 megawatts of electricity, enough to power around 300,000 homes.
So they single-handedly changed the environment in the area.
Jesus Christ.
Like they've set off. They're the largest polluter in that entire. If you combine all the other industries, and that was a very heavily polluted industrial zone, apparently, that they're kind of like adjacent to. And apparently, if you combine all the other polluters now, that single AI center pollutes more than all of the other industries combined in that area.
Jesus Christ.
And it's because they're pounding electricity to run this Grok AI.
Release three main types of deadly pollution: nitrogen oxides, formaldehyde, and fine particulate matter. Nitrogen oxides combine with other pollutants to form ground-level ozone, which causes and worsens asthma and COPD. Formaldehyde causes cancer, and particulate matter, airborne soot, can pass through your lungs and into your bloodstream, causing heart disease.
We solved that today.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot of that too. Anyways, we're probably running out of your time already.
We got like 5 minutes, but that's great. Yeah, because Elon Musk is great for everybody. Yay. Okay.
Well, listen, we could always just continue this with our next. We could always continue Elon Musk conversation in our next one. I know it's a little shorter today.
A little bit.
Johnny's got to go. Got to get going. Johnny's working hard. Johnny's trying to become the next Spielbergo.
I'm just trying to, make sure all my bills are paid at the end of the day. That's all I really want to
fair.
do. But yeah, I got a few things working in. What the fuck? Sorry, I got a few things in the works as far as jobs and whatnot, working on a couple of features and some. We decided that we're going to produce a horror film anthology. So we've got 6 or 7 teams working on their own individual stories, and we're going to put them all together one big anthology. Hopefully, that'll be out. We're trying to get that into Screamfest this year, which that'd be cool. But that's in October.
It's like the horror movie.
Yeah.
What's an anthology at the end of the day? Like, explain.
Anthology is a collection of stories. It's like
okay. So it's like a bunch of short stories, kind of like.
Right. Yeah.
So does each story get entered individually, or does the whole thing
So we would put it as a whole film, right? So what I'm doing is I'm working on the connective tissue in between each story. So like, think Tales from the Crypt, right? You have the Crypt Keeper. That's not what I'm doing, but how the Crypt Keeper pulls each individual story in, and then that's kind of what we're looking at.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not as familiar with it. I know what you mean though. Is the Crypt Keeper would go from like one story to another, so he'd be like, "Woo!" and that googly gobbly thing. I can't remember, but you know exactly. I just remember an episode where a dude is cheating on his girl, and he's been wearing I was young, but he's been like wearing a ponytail while he like I guess they're twins, the girls or whatever, and he's like got a ponytail on with the one and not a ponytail with the other, and then they discover that this is what he's been doing, and so it like ends with them it like shows them both in bed like caressing him and his face and like touching his nose and stuff, and then as the camera pans differently, it's that they've sliced him in half perfectly down the middle. And each sister has one half of the guy.
That's fun. Yeah,
right down the fucking center. So the camera pans over top, and it's just like he's a fucking like he's a cattle that's been like sliced at the meat fucking plant right down the middle. Yeah, I just remember that, and then it comes back to it comes back to the Crypt Keeper. My god, I think I was young though. Like honestly, I think that I was at the age still where a lot of things on there were like.
Yeah. Oh no, there's some creepy shit that happened because. HBO, so they didn't pull too many punches.
Was it HBO? Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what put it HBO.
We had one of those chips in our satellite. So we got all channels.
I think you're safe. Now.
You don't know. The man could come for me.
I've
just admitted to crimes. But connective tissue, great description. Hey, listen, as soon as he said connective tissue, I just thought of like meat, like Papa Meat. Do you ever watch Meat Canyon? Did you watch Meat Canyon? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think you've told me about this before.
Here, give you 10 seconds before you go, okay? He does. My wife won't even watch these. Fuck. He cartoons, but he like.
You're not sharing your screen, BTW.
No, I know. I just hold on. I'll get there. It's like. It's the creepiest shit ever. Hold on. So like he does like this is Ozempic. This is him like making fun of Ozempic.
Honey, you look great. The Ozempic shots are really paying off. Looks like the fat has been sucked right out of you.
Yeah. I just have 2 more shots left. But I think I'm gonna take both of them tonight.
I don't think that's a good idea. Your doctor said to take only 1 a week and...
You don't know.
But anyways, he like takes the Ozempic shots, but they're so twisted. Like,
I want it all gone. Just take it.
That's how the Ozempic works.
Yeah.
But he draws these himself, and he does a lot of the sound effects and stuff. But everything's very. So when you said connective tissue, I just thought of his artwork because everything's always very. Like this. But yeah, I mean, one of the other episodes here is he's making fun of like.
Where are you?
Those Disney people, the people that are like grown adults, but they like.
Oh yeah.
They're like.
Disney.
Yeah, like
these mini panties are a bit too mini if you catch my drift. You've been poking and prodding all morning.
God damn. Because that's him doing the voice and everything.
Yeah.
It's the most twisted bullshit you've ever seen. It's so funny though.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Then now that I've scarred half the audience. Anyways, yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear you're working. I know that, like many of us, it's not nobody's getting rich and retiring yet.
Yeah.
But it's good to hear that you're working. For everybody watching, we did actually have 28 people in here, which was fantastic. Liz, I see you there. Mr. Andrek, Craven, anybody else? NF Cat, Warlock, appreciate you. Facty, hey buddy.
Oh no, more Canadians, more Canadians.
Ed 209 up there. Midnight Smoke. Kelly Fitzpatrick, who had taken off to bed. Craven Mordick. Elizabeth S. Doing roll call. I got Kaiser.
Oh no.
He's going to jail for a long time probably.
Good, good for him.
And then we got Fred Knotts up there, which I didn't notice some of his comments at the time. And anybody else I missed, I appreciate you guys coming by. Yeah, we were just busy, as we mentioned earlier. We're hoping to do more of these again, and we weren't like cutting it out yet. We were just kind of, although Johnny just has to let me know if anything ever changes in his life, and we can always figure that out. So.
Oh no, I'm not going to quit doing. I just, like I said, that was a thought process before I came back, earlier.
Oh,
this
before
year.
the previous time. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just got it into the headspace of I'm trying to make it more of like a casual enjoying thing.
Yeah, right.
And then it's like anything. I enjoy talking to the audience, and I like this, so that's why I'm here. Dib, good to see you. That's right. Can't forget the dibs. Awesome. Anyways, I'll make it quick and I'll take off. Johnny's got to get going. I always hold him a little too long. I appreciate everybody coming by. We will try to pick this up. I don't know. You said you possibly free Wednesday?
Yeah,
night?
let's look at Wednesday night.
We'll just try to aim back for Wednesday again. So we're going to try to get back on the grind, everybody. And I'm going to hit that intro outro until I make a proper outro again. And have a good night. Appreciate everybody coming by. Thanks,
Cheers,
Johnny.
everybody.